When I made a video recently, I talked about triggers. I really hope you guys have watched those videos 1 to 8. Now let's go to the triggers. I made a video explaining that our triggers are sight, hearing, touch, smell and taste. They're our senses. So what happens, just let me explain very briefly. Let's say someone has had a very traumatic event in their life when they were a child. So when they hear a piece of music that is actually played from that time that they had that traumatic experience, whenever they hear that music, it will trigger that sense of hearing, and they might see that memory again and have anxiety. Okay, now let me tell you about the dangerous thing that is happening with social media and the media in general. When I was a child, we didn't have all this stimulation, okay? The only time I remember hearing about the first man on the moon walking was by hearing it on a radio, and my parents turned on the radio. But we didn't have all our senses being triggered all the time, right? Wherever we look on social media, on the internet, on Google, there is doom and gloom. So all our senses are being triggered all the time. This is why we have a 21st century of anxiety, from our little children who are getting it to you as adults out there listening to this video right now. I've been actually going to all the sites and looking at this total crazy fear, people talking about this, to the point that I've actually put a thing on my page saying no more, because I'm helping people with that anxiety and depression, and this is all triggering it. Now let me explain to you about our triggers. Think about it this way. Wherever we go these days, because we are all bang, bang, bang on our phone, looking at media, we are exposed to. There's terrorism, there's buildings being blown up, there's wars, we're seeing it through our senses, we're hearing it through our hearing, okay, we're triggering. We see people on the internet, crime, women getting murdered by their husbands, children getting abused and murdered by some crazy sociopath. There is just so much on the media that we can't get away from, and this is because we are all stuck to constantly being on Facebook and on the internet. We are so addicted to it. And look, if you have anxiety, for goodness sake, stick your phone and stick your laptop away and put on a great comedy and a movie. And look, I'm not just going on about this as if I don't know anything about it. I'm a master's degree qualified counsellor, and I do the research. They're showing that we are addicted to our phones, we're addicted to our technology, because it produces the dopamine floods through our brain when we're actually looking at all this. And this is why most of us, you walk around, you see a whole lot of people at a dining table out for dinner or a social event, and they're all sitting in the park even, all playing on their phones. I mean, what's the point? We're supposed to be sitting communicating with each other. Even though you are not thinking that you've got the coronavirus, you're being triggered because you're watching all these people going on and on and on and making comments and this and that about the coronavirus and these many deaths. Whenever we turn on our TV, there's news, there's talking about this is going on in Iraq, this war's happening here, these people are being killed over here, there's been a landslide in such and such an Indonesian country, there's been an earthquake that's killed millions of people, there's a tsunami. So you think about this visual information is continually going to our senses, and if you understand what triggers the amygdala is the fear factor. Okay, so we're in fear, we're stressed out. Stress, the hypothalamus is triggered. It's constantly producing messages saying this person's in danger because their body's stressed out, their blood pressure's going up. So imaging is showing that cortisol is flooding our brain, okay, as we are also watching things on social media and on Google. And the reason being, all our senses are being activated, especially our sight and our hearing. When you are continually exposed to auditory and visual, of which we can't get away from, because it constantly got pictures of what's going on in Iraq, and buildings being bombed, and planes being hijacked, and people being murdered, and children being murdered, and women being violated. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So really, what is happening to this 21st century society is that their senses are continually being triggered, which creates the fear, which creates the cortisol to go to the adrenal glands and trigger adrenaline. And that's what happens. Cortisol triggers adrenaline and puts you into fight and flight. I'll give you a perfect example. I watch a lot of videos on different things, and some of them are quite scary, okay, because it's part of my research. However, I can tell you what happens sometimes when I'm watching something about people violating women and children, breaking into homes, etc., and hurting people. I actually get up out of my bed all of a sudden after I watch this for a couple of days, and I start locking my doors. So it's sensible to lock your doors, okay? But I go in there and I actually key lock it. This is exactly what's wrong with this society in the 21st century. So my beautiful people out there, if you have anxiety and depression right now, go and watch a nice movie, chill out on your bed this afternoon, or go down the beach, or go and visit a friend and talk about something other than a virus, okay? And talk about fun things and nice things and get away from this. Choose programs at the moment. Skip all the bad news that's going on and on and on and on and on. I mean, everybody knows there's a virus. Everyone knows, okay, look, we need to take precautions, but, you know, for goodness sake, if you think about how many people die from the flu, car accidents, wars, etc., and if you know about the brain like I do and you understand about how it's all triggered, and that's why I say go and watch those anxiety series playlists, videos 1 to 8 and the follow-up videos, you will seriously understand how all our senses are triggered. So if you are suffering anxiety and depression, get off social media and start doing happy things, and avoid looking at all that stuff that is just continually increasing your fear factor. There is no doubt the 21st century has triggered anxiety through our senses because we're constantly on social media. So listen, if you want to get well, control your social media, control what you view on television, what you view on Netflix, what you view on Stan, what you view on internet. If you are a person sensitive to anxiety, that's the last thing you should be watching. So go on and watch a fantastic comedy. You know, that's what I've been doing. I've been watching Kath and Kim. I love them. Okay, well, absolutely fabulous. Or, you know, another comedy that you love. So, my beautiful people, just remember, if you want to heal, do what I'm saying. Please subscribe, okay? And please make sure you put your notifications on. And I'd like a comment down there also from all of you to say, hey, what has triggered you? What are the things you've been watching lately that have been triggering you? See you later, lovelies. Bye for now.